Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to share something a little different, a story from my own life that really shifted my perspective on things. It's funny how the most profound moments can come from the most unexpected sources, isn't it? For me, it came from my 7-year-old grandson, Leo. It was a pretty standard Sunday afternoon. We were at the park, the sun was out, and Leo was busy building an elaborate sandcastle, complete with a moat and little seashell decorations. I was sitting on a nearby bench, just watching him, feeling that familiar wave of grandparental pride. He was so focused, so determined. I was thinking about my own childhood, about the things I used to do, the dreams I had. It's a path many of us go down as we get older, right? We look back, we measure our lives by the milestones we've hit, the things we've achieved. I'd always considered myself successful. I had a good career, raised a wonderful family, and now I had this incredible grandson. My life felt full, complete. I thought I had it all figured out, but we all have those little nagging voices, don't we? The what ifs. What if I had taken that job overseas? What if I had pursued my passion for painting instead of a safer career path? These thoughts were flickering in the back of my mind as I watched Leo play. He finally finished his masterpiece, stood back to admire it, and then ran over to me, his face beaming with pride. "Grandpa," he said, "look what I made." I told him it was the best sandcastle I had ever seen, and it truly was. He then sat down next to me, still catching his breath, and looked up at me with those big, curious eyes. And then he asked the question. It wasn't about the sandcastle, or about getting ice cream, or about anything I expected. He just looked at me, completely serious, and asked, "Grandpa, are you happy when you're just being you?" I have to be honest, it stopped me in my tracks. I just stared at him for a moment. Happy when I'm just being me. Not happy because of my job or my house or my accomplishments. Not happy because of what I've done, but happy for who I am. It was such a simple question, but the weight of it was immense. I'd spent so much of my life chasing goals, ticking boxes, and defining myself by external achievements. I was the manager, the husband, the father, the provider. These were all roles I was proud of, but were they the entirety of me? I realized I didn't have a quick answer for him, and that scared me a little. Had I lost touch with the person I was when all the titles and responsibilities were stripped away? The kid who loved to get lost in a book, the young man who could spend hours just listening to music? When was the last time I did something just for the pure joy of it, without thinking about productivity or what it would lead to? I looked back at Leo, who was waiting patiently for an answer. I took a deep breath and said, "You know what, buddy? That's a really good question. I think I'm still learning how to be." It wasn't the strong, all-knowing answer a grandfather is supposed to give, but it was the honest one. And his reaction was just as surprising. He just nodded, as if that made perfect sense, and said, "Me too. Sometimes I just like sitting and watching the clouds." That was it. That simple exchange in the park on a Sunday afternoon. But it sent ripples through my entire way of thinking. For the next few weeks, his question echoed in my mind. Are you happy when you're just being you? I started paying more attention to the small things. The taste of my morning coffee. The feeling of the sun on my face. The sound of birds outside my window. These were moments of just being, not doing. I realized that my identity had become so wrapped up in my achievements that I'd forgotten to simply enjoy the journey. I was always looking toward the next goal, the next milestone, and in doing so, I was missing the present. I was living a life full of nouns, the job, the house, the car, but I was short on verbs, the laughing, the exploring, the creating, the being. So I decided to make a change. It wasn't some grand dramatic overhaul, it was small. I picked up my old guitar that had been gathering dust in the attic for 20 years. My fingers were clumsy at first, the chords were rusty, but the feeling of creating music, just for myself, was incredible. I wasn't trying to become a rock star, I was just playing. I started taking long walks without a destination, just to see where my feet would take me. I started reading fiction again, getting lost in other worlds just like I did when I was a boy. My wife noticed the change. She said I seemed lighter, more present. Our conversations became less about logistics and planning, and more about ideas, feelings, and dreams. It was like a part of me that had been dormant for decades had slowly started to wake up. And it all came back to that simple question from a 7-year-old. Children have this amazing ability to see the world without all the layers of complexity we adults pile on top of it. They understand joy in its purest form. They don't build a sandcastle to add it to their resume. They build it because the process of creating it is fun. They don't run just to get somewhere. They run because it feels good to move. This experience taught me a vital lesson. Success and achievement are wonderful, but they are not the same as happiness. Happiness isn't a destination you arrive at after a lifetime of hard work. It's a state of being you can access right now in this very moment. It's found in the quiet spaces between all the doing. It's about being happy with who you are, not just what you've accomplished. I wanted to share this story with you all today because I think it's a message we all need to hear from time to time, no matter our age. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to do more, be more, achieve more. But maybe the real secret is to just be, to find joy in the simple act of existence. So, I'll pass my grandson's question on to you. Are you happy when you're just being you? It might be worth taking a moment to really think about it. You might be surprised by what you discover. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing for more content. Until next time, take care and be kind to yourself.